Mugibi Tom Tamba Nomanza Bonso Viro, good morning. Welcome to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. Other do say Mashibukeni, Maoka Bwanji. How do you say? Muzwile, yes, Muzwile. Mujibi exactly. Muzwile, that's Lozi, Mujibi that's Kaonde. Yeah, and definitely we also get to
Toksakila
Mwani. Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
something like that.
Those are diverse of languages.
Of course, we have 72 languages. Don't forget.
Definitely.
It's one Zambia, one nation at the end of the day.
Definitely. I'm talking about the 72 languages. It's also a Friday. Excitingly so, because we, the scribes, we, the members of the press, are actually celebrating our day, which is the World Press Freedom Day that falls annually on the 3rd of May. Each year, and definitely as Zambian journalists also are part and parcel of this celebration. And our theme as of this year is that a press for the planet, journalism in the face of environmental crisis.
I can see the passion in your face. It's very important and encouraging. It is our day, definitely, and it is a Friday, the day before the weekend. In fact, the weekend officially begins today.
Because yesterday was junior weekend.
Junior Friday is the day they call it. Yes. Today it's Junior Saturday, but it's the beginning of the weekend.
Joe, I know we dressed casually today.
Of course,
we don't want to look smart.
No.
It's our day.
Yeah,
and also
we're letting loose.
Yes, we're letting loose. But let me find out from you as we get to kickstart the show. Anything that you lined up aside from the march past that we're going to see should be around the central business district or somewhere civic center area?
From here, of course, we've got an early assignment at Ratson Blue. From there, obviously, we'll join our colleagues in the march past. Then after the march past, of course, mini celebration for the scribes. Then later on, we're escalating it. In the night, hope won't be load shedded wherever we're going to be as we continue interacting as scribes and also with the members of the public out there that watch us on the screen. And of course, we do interact with them, those that recognize us in public. We do interact with them and just have fun. But definitely, it's a fully packed day. It is a Friday after all. This is why we are letting loose at the end of the day, to make sure that we interact with members of the public as we celebrate our day. And talking about celebrating our day, our women yesterday, our ladies, were, they won the match. They won the match but lost on scores.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was 8-1. The Nkwazi Queens were playing against the female police officers at Edwin Mboela Stadium. So they scored 8 goals, the Nkwazi Queens. Then the media, female folk, the ladies in the media, the journalists, the scribes, they only managed to score 1 goal, case of Rebecca from Lusaka Music Radio. Then we had Memory Malisawa as well from ZMBC. We also had Edith Mwinga. We also had Cynthia Mkata.
Yes.
We also had Linosi Victoria, the game changer. She wore number 7. We call her the sports chick. She wore number 7 and she played exceptionally well, though she was introducing the game at a bit late. But she did make a difference, and we know we're consolidating our team as Lusaka journalists. And next week, we're scheduled to meet the defense. Yes, the defense, women from the defense forces. And we promised our women will put up a great game again. Yeah, so they lost on scores, but they won the match.
They lost on scores and they won the match indeed. And just talking about issues of fitness, it's not just about thinking of news stories or giving you those headlines that you might be looking out for. But we as scribes as well, we try by all means to ensure that we remain healthy. And talking about issues relating to health, let's go directly into the health corner this morning with Dr. Nakubiana Mufwa. She gets to give us insight in some of those healthy tips that you and I get to look out for. And we'll be back on the other side.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakuviana Mfaya. This week we have been talking about prostate cancer, and on the 4th of February this week we are commemorating World Cancer Day, so we decided to talk about cancer this week. So we highlighted this week that prostate cancer comes about when there is a lot of cell growth that is growing in the prostate, more than the cells are dying in the prostate, and that there are certain mutations that can also occur in the genes that can accelerate this growth of the cells and lead to someone having prostate cancer. So we also say that some of the risk factors of prostate cancer include age. If you're age 65 and above, you're more likely to have prostate cancer than other people. And also family history. If you have a family history of cancer, where someone in the family had prostate cancer or even other cancers like breast cancer, you are also at risk of having prostate cancer. Then we also say that diet can play a role as well in you having cancer. If you eat a lot of foods that have more sugar and more fats, you're also increasing your chances of having prostate cancer. Then we also highlighted the types of prostate cancer that are there. The most common types are adenocarcinoma and squamous cell carcinoma. Then we say that people who have prostate cancer can have certain symptoms like having urinary problems. When they go to the toilet to urinate, they might be feeling the urge to urinate, but when they go to urinate, the urine is very little that is coming out, and also the stream of the urine might be very weak than normal. Then they might also experience pain or urine with blood. So they might have blood in the urine, which we call hematuria. They might also have back pain because of where the prostate is located. They might experience back pain. They may also experience weight loss. So you might notice that somebody is losing weight more than they usually do. Or they might be fatigued. They might be feeling tired and just feeling sick most of the time because of the condition that they might be having. So it's important for you to get screened, and we say that the screening is done in the hospital, where some tests can be done. A PSA test can be done to check if the prostate is functioning well or not. And also a DRE can be done, which is a digital rectal exam that can also check whether the prostate is bigger in size or not. You can also do an ultrasound, even though it's not very specific, but more importantly, you can also do a biopsy, which where you get a certain portion of the prostate to test, to check the cells that are there in the prostate, what type of cells are there, and are they cancerous, and at what stage are they if they're cancerous. So when the staging is done of the cancer, then the doctors are able to ascertain or to know what treatment to give the patient depending on the stage of the cancer that is there. So treatment options include radiotherapy and also hormonotherapy, and more importantly, it can be removed. So they can do a removal of the prostate in the hospital through surgery. So today we'll talk about how you can prevent yourself from having cancer. So first of all, it's important to understand that when the prostate cancer has developed to a very advanced stage, it can spread to other parts of the body. And some of the parts that it spreads to the bladder, it can spread to the bladder. It can also spread to the seminal vesicles. Seminal vesicles are another gland that are found in men and also help to produce semen as well. So it can spread to the seminal vesicles. It can also spread to the bones. And because it spreads to the bones, you might find that people who have prostate cancer might also have symptoms of pain in the bones. So they might be having pain in the bone. So they might be feeling pain whenever you touch them. Maybe at a certain point in the bone, they might feel pain. So that is how prostate cancer can spread. It can spread mostly to the bladder and the seminal vesicles, and more importantly to the bones. So how can you prevent yourself from having prostate cancer? as we have already highlighted, some of the risk factors are that diet needs to be checked. What are you eating? You need to be able to control your diet, eat fruits that are good for your health. These include more fruits and more vegetables in your diet, and reducing on the amount of fats that you take in your diet, and sugar as well. So increase your fruits in your vegetables, reduce on the saturated fats that come from mostly animal meat, which is mostly cow meat, and pork as well. You can eat more lean meats like fish and chicken. They have less fat. So it's important that you check what you're eating, and eat healthy food as well. Eat more fiber in your diet, eat more nuts in your diet, and eat more foods that have good nutrition for you to be able to prevent yourself from having cancer. The other thing is you need to start being more active than usual. If you are inactive and you're not keeping your body active, your cells are not using up energy, and so you might find that they might start using that energy for growing and causing cancer. So it's important that you might you keep your body active and exercise at least 3 times in a week, or even more than that. You can exercise for 30 minutes every day, for about 3 to 5 times in a week, or even 6 times if you can. So that is how you can prevent prostate cancer. The other thing that you need to consider is if you smoke tobacco and drink alcohol, then you need to start reducing on that. And if you're able to stop smoking tobacco, then you should consider stopping smoking tobacco and also stopping taking alcohol, because they increase your risk of having cancer and even other conditions as well. So these are things that you can do to prevent yourself from having prostate cancer, and also prevent yourself from having other cancers as well, and even other lifestyle diseases like diabetes, hypertension, heart diseases, stroke. So it's important for you to live a healthy lifestyle, for you to be able to live healthy and choose healthy foods and choose healthy activities that will increase your chances of not getting ill and getting certain diseases. So this week we talked about prostate cancer, and I do hope that you learned something from what we have talked about this week, and hope to see you again next week. Happy World Cancer Day.
Thank you so much, right there to Dr. Nakubana for just giving those healthy insight or tips, as you may like, and just like we do mention time and again, that you too can be giving us those health tips that you'd really like to be covered under that segment. For we know that as Zambians or as a people, we need to remain healthy to ensure that we add to the productivity of the country or the growth of the country in so many ways, be it socially, economically, as well as other way that you might think of adding productively to the country. And just talking about the issue of productivity, let's get to look at the money market as we get to understand how the kwacha is performing against the major convertibles on the international market. We know much talk has been on the United States dollar fluctuating and showing signs of instability and almost hitting 27. But is it the case? Let's get to look at the money market as of Friday, even as we get to close the week. There you have it on your screens. As predicted, the United States dollar is buying at 26 kwacha, 0.66 ngwe, and selling at 27 kwacha, 0.19 ngwe. And the euro is buying at 28 kwacha rather, 0.49 ngwe, and selling at 29 kwacha, 0.05 ngwe. The South African rand is buying at 1 kwacha, 0.43 ngwe, and selling at 1 kwacha, 33.46 Ngwe. The Great British Pound is buying at 33.31 Ngwe and selling at 33.97 Ngwe. The update comes to you courtesy exactly 07:27 this morning and the 3rd of May 2024 as we get to make headways, even as journalists get to celebrate their day. The United States dollar, yes, as predicted by Joe the other time, I think we were together on a Tuesday, did mention to say after a series of holidays that would have been noticed, there's a likelihood that we might just hit 27, and as you might have seen on your screen, actually it is a double-edged sword because under this month also we saw a 4.44 Ngwe increase on the pump price of fuel, and on top of that also we've been noticed by the power utility firm in ZESCO that also tariffs, electricity tariffs have also been increased, so meaning that we'll need now to foot extra costs on top of the cost of living, on top of the cost of doing business. But really assurances have been laid on the table, and one only hopes that that time or that assurances or those assurances that have been given to ensure that these things get to stabilize or get to stabilize actually are fulfilled. Although, just like Joe is asking, many also out there are asking, are those assurances with time frames that have been attached to them, or do these assurances keep on going? What's the longevity of them, and when exactly are going to be actualized? I think those are some of the questions.
And I'm asking this because in a clip that went viral on different social media platforms, different WhatsApp blogs, and obviously this clip was depicting the Minister of Finance, Honorable Dr. Stumbeko Msokotwani, who said, just watch out, the Kwacha is going to give a bullish attack on other major convertible currencies, particularly referring to the United States dollar. This is May, and today is the 3rd of May. The Kwacha is at 27.
Yeah,
the dollar is buying at 27 Kwacha, meaning that one Kwacha to $1 to a Kwacha is 27.19 Ngwe, Nelson. So we hope that the assurances are going to be actualized, but from the look of things, nothing is happening to that effect, number one. Number two, we also need to be addressed by the president. It is the 5th month now. The public wants to know what is happening. We have noticed some inconsistencies coming through from NIMA and the Ministry of Health, what is really happening. Not so long ago, in fact the day before yesterday, Nelson, we got a statement that was circulated widely that some benefits on the NIMA package have been withdrawn by the institution. However, barely 48 hours, the minister has issued a statement saying that NIMA had no blessings from her, since NIMA is now under the Ministry of Health. And we have seen a statement that is flying around where NIMA has issued another statement reversing the earlier notice, the earlier circular that was circulated that those benefits can be maintained the way they were. Now the question is, where are these inconsistencies coming from? And this is not the first time we're experiencing such inconsistencies. Does it mean that there's no consultations when making these particular decisions? Who's reporting to who, and who's being who's exercising insubordination, if you like, to whom? So these are some of the questions that the general public need to know. And earlier when we were coming, you said something about some public health care facilities.
Definitely, we shall make that submissions because it's very important that we also get to be enlightened in terms of what we see, especially in these the public health facilities. Okay, but just talking about that, before we delve into the NIMA story, before the withdrawal by the Minister of Health in Sylvia Masebo, we also had a story from ZESCO where it has made headways in terms of the company commencing the importation of power to supplement the national power supply following reduced generation due to poor hydrology. In a statement, ZESCO spokesperson Matongo Maombi indicated that effective 1st May 2024, the corporation will begin the importation of electricity. He explains that the imported electricity will constitute approximately 20% of the total available power for at least 12 months. He adds that this development will ever see the power utility company having reduced control over the stability and scheduling of the imported power source. Mr. Maombi further states that although this move has potential, he states that though this move has potential to cause unforeseen disruptions, ZESCO will be on course to ensure that the challenges are effectively mitigated in the shortest possible time. This is also one of the stories that has made a lot of talk, especially
inconsistencies again
on the public domain, because I think the last time we did host ZESCO here, there was an indication that yes, we've got agreements with certain countries such as Mozambique to export power, and even with the load shedding, we shall continue to export simply because those agreements are in effect. Now, if you export power to your neighbor and then you yourself is suffering, and then on top of that you decide also to import,
it doesn't make logical
what does
sense.
that imply?
No, it doesn't make logical sense, because look, Nelson, we are told, for instance, that we are producing, we are generating power more than we require, right? So the excess power, since we can't store, yeah, this was the way that was used. Since we can't store power, what we need to do is export, because obviously we live in a global world. We are not an island like Zambia, so we need to supplement our neighboring countries, right, with power generation. So we did that, and now, surprisingly, we are now being load shedded, and in this load shedding schedule, there are inconsistencies. Now, unconfirmed reports are suggesting that there will be 2 more hours that will be added to the 8-hour schedule. You see, so power will go at 8, come at 20, then go at 6. You get my point. So when you look at the schedule that has been released, and you tend to say, okay, fine, I'm in group E or group C or group A or group B, and this is how my schedule is supposed to be, you find that there are inconsistencies. So it's not only in the energy sector where inconsistencies are, but we are noticing these inconsistencies as well in the health sector. So what is really happening? What is really wrong? We saw that Tanzania had to switch off, is it 3? Generating power or whatever. They had to switch off 3 of their generation power sources because they had excess power, right?
Oh yes.
Yes, because they had excess power. So why didn't we do the same thing, but we decided to export, being told that because we have running contracts with other neighboring countries, and now we are being load shedded, and this same schedule is not even being adhered to. The citizens want to get answers, and they are concerned at the end of the day.
You too can also be part of this conversation by simply calling in and also giving us a perspective in terms of how is the load shedding situation in your area? How is it happening? Is the schedule really being followed by the power utility, ZESCO? But let's get to move on. That before that statement from Minister of Health, Sylvia Masebo, retracting that those services that were under NEMA, that they've been withdrawn, we saw the Zambia Medical Association come to the party, urging the National Health Insurance Management Authority to pursue other avenues to meet increased demand of healthcare services being sought under the insurance scheme. This had followed the recent announcement by NEMA stripping off dental and spectacle benefits among other services under the scheme. That is another story that we get to look at, and back to back with it is a story where also we've seen that the states have appealed against former Minister of Justice Given Lubinda's acquittal at the Lusaka Magistrate Court, where he was facing 4 charges of corruption, indicating that indeed the magistrate that had passed on judgment on that case erred in law when he did pronounce himself that the state had failed to actually prove beyond reasonable doubt, the probabilities of proving beyond reasonable doubt that indeed this was a corruption case. Even as we get to do that, our guest is in, and just after those 2 stories, we'll delve into the main interview this morning. Keep it on Camnet. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel.
The National Health Insurance Management Authority, NIMA, is an initiative established by government pursuant to Section 4 of the National Health Insurance Act No. 2 of 2018, which seeks to provide for sound and reliable healthcare financing for Zambian households and the entire health sector. It is unquestionable that NIMA, since its introduction, has seen many citizens in the country seek to register under the scheme to access healthcare services as and when they want to, irrespective of their financial capacity to do so. However, recently, NIMA announced that it had stripped off some healthcare services sought for under the insurance scheme effective 1st July 2024. Among the revised benefits from the packages include spectacles, dental services, renal consumables, among others. This development has, however, raised concern among the Zambia Medical Association, ZMA, who have described it as untimely, further calling for the insurance scheme to pursue other avenues to meet the demand for healthcare services sought for under the scheme. ZMA Secretary General Dr. Oliver Kaoma, in an interview with Camnet News, has cited the negative implications of the move by NIMA on the general public who depend on the scheme to access healthcare services.
So the development of NIMA removing some of the services or revising the benefits package comes as negative news to the general public, to the Zambia Medical Association, as well as the overall impact that this may have in terms of health-seeking behavior as far as dental, eye services, and many other services that they have listed that they are revising the package. For us as an association, we would love to see a situation where every Zambian is covered, but unfortunately, as we know, even the current statistics that sit with NIMA, not every eligible Zambian has been covered, both in the informal, especially in the informal sector. It is for this reason that as an association we would like to urge the National Health Insurance Management Authority to explore other avenues that will ensure that they meet the demands for the services of the Zambian people.
Dr. Kaoma has further urged the authorities to effect measures that will ensure that fake claims under the scheme are effectively dealt with to avoid wastage of the contribution from the public.
As an association, we want to also add that the National Health Insurance Scheme is fairly new, and it has a number of challenges, and we've had various media concerns and general public outcry that there's exploitation happening in certain areas. We cannot speak to that because we do not have the facts and the evidence. However, we'd like to encourage the authority to ensure that they put in measures that will ensure that fake claims are dealt with, fake claims are identified to avoid wastage of the hard-earned money that is deducted from the Zambian people that are working so hard to finance and ensure that they sustain the scheme. Is the scheme really a good thing for Zambia? It's an excellent scheme, and it's meant to help us achieve universal health coverage. People should not have to fail to go to the hospitals, do not have to fail to go to the health facilities because they are afraid that once they pay for those services, they will not be able to eat.
Meanwhile, NIMA, as of today, 2nd May 2024, with immediate effect, suspended accreditation of private healthcare providers in the country. Chanda Mwango for Camnet News in Lusaka.
Thursday, 18th April 2024, was a day filled with emotions for the Lubinda family and Opposition Patriotic Front as the Lusaka Magistrate Court made the landmark decision to acquit the former Justice Minister on all 4 counts of corruption-related charges. In passing judgment, the court ruled that the properties acquired by Mr. Lubinda were not process of crime but legally acquired. In his judgment, Lusaka Magistrate Sanford Ngobola stated that the funds received by the then accused in his dollar account, which the state alleged were process of crime, were instead in respect of a loan facility which his company, Hive Investment, entered into with Quindao Ranch and Cotton Company. The court determined that sufficient evidence was not presented in all 4 counts to make the suspicion reasonable. As such, the prosecution failed to discharge the burden of providing the ingredients of the offense for the balance of probabilities and found Mr. Lubinda not guilty. However, In the latest development, the state has made attempts to overturn the SMAO in Mr. Lubinda's camp, as it has expressed dissatisfaction with the judgment by appealing before the court through the Director of Public Prosecution, Gilbert Piri. In a notice of appeal served before the Lusaka Magistrate Court, the DPP submits that the trial court erred in law when it found that the prosecution did not prove the ingredients of the offense on a balance of probability when it acquitted Mr. Lubinda. On the 5 grounds of appeal submitted, the DPP indicates that the trial court erred in law when it found that the monies received by Mr. Lubinda in his dollar account were not process of crime in light of the evidence on record, and erred in law when the court concluded that Mr. Lubinda gave a credible explanation regarding the funds in his dollar account. The DPP also advances that the trial court erred in law when it held that $50,000 paid to Kingsland City as part payment towards the purchase of a landed property was not tainted property, and it proved that the prosecution's evidence did not prove reasonable suspicion. Before his acquittal, Mr. Lubinda was accused that on March 3, 2018, received $50,000 from China African Cotton Limited and $100,000 from Kwendao Ranching Cotton Industrial Company Limited, property deemed to have been proceeds of crime, allegations which Mr. Lubinda denied, just like at the time of his arrest on Monday, March 21st, 2022.
Dollars in your account is right. So we'll have to go and prove this in court. And I'm happy that it has happened, because all the time I was walking the streets of Lusaka, just thinking people are thinking I'm a thief. Finally, they have given me an opportunity to go and prove in court that I'm clean. This is a good opportunity for me. And I've said before, friends of mine in the Patriotic Front, for them to come for me, you should know that no one is safe.
All eyes are set on whether or not the High Court will overturn the subordinate court judgment. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Thank you so much for still staying tuned to Camnet TV Breakfast Show on a Friday, where I'm your host Nelson Zulu as well as Joe Tabelo Simata, as we also get to delve into the world of business. And just talking about business, we also played you some stories that we were trying to ensure that you are educated about in terms of what is currently happening. But let's get to move on. Just like as promised, we're going now to delve into the main interview this morning, where we feature former Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, also served at some point as Minister of Agriculture in Robert Bob Sitchinga's around the agricultural sector. What has to be improved amidst the drought situation? Uncle Bob, let's begin from there. Good morning.
Good morning to you, and also good morning, Joe. Good morning to our viewers. Thank you for having me this morning. And yeah, you raised a very important issue that is very close to my heart. I was sharing this with somebody else. I think maybe it was this forum when we met last time. At the age of 8, I was a young farmer. Okay? And maybe in fairness, apart from serving as Minister of Agriculture for a year under Mr. Sata in 2013 to 2014, okay. I also did serve on several agricultural company boards, like in Changa Farms when I was working for ZCCM. So I have some understanding of what is taking place, and so I hope that today we can be able to share this. But besides that, I think that for the benefit of our viewers, last time we were discussing theory.
Okay.
Today, Joe, I decided I was going to bring evidence.
Okay.
Right? I was going to give
practical evidence.
Practical. Yes, we should be
Fantastic.
more practical, and also that people do not start to think Bob Chinga is talking from his ideas. Right? So I brought with me a copy, and in the rush I did not have for this. I've brought with me a copy of the 7th National Development Plan. I should have actually picked up the 8th National Development Plan.
Oh,
okay. This particular one, this is 7th, is from 2017 to 2021. 2021. Yeah, remember these are 5-year National Development Plans leading us to the Vision 2030. Okay, so this is the 7th one. We currently have from 2021 to 2026, we have the 8th National Development Plan.
So the plan is already there.
So the plans are there, they will have been worked out, they have been agreed, And the question then is, how well are these implemented? Do they achieve their objectives? And to know how it's doing, I also brought copies of 2 documents. And I'm talking about, these are government documents, by the way. I just want the viewers to know that these are government documents, they're not my documents.
They are not Honorable Bob Singer's documents.
No. These are documents that are in public domain. So I've brought a copy here. I hope the cameras can pick it. This is a 2020, all right, annual economic report. It also goes
from the Ministry of Finance.
This is from Ministry of Finance, yes, explaining to us how the sectors have grown. In other words, this is a plan. This is its implementation.
Okay.
All right? That's what it is. Now, instead of us, especially us Zambians, especially Zambian male citizens, we spend far too much time drinking alcohol.
Especially on Friday.
Yeah. And I'm asking myself, how many political parties and those that are seeking to lead us in our country, how many of them have understood this? And this is 2020.
Not even understanding, Uncle Bob. How many of them are reading these documents?
Well, have got access to them, and also they are reading them. So that if they are going to challenge the existing government, they must be able to say to us, this is the alternative.
Yes.
This is what we can do. So this, I'm just going to brought this. But also I took 2021.
Okay.
Because I think that was the latest
economic report.
that I could lay my hands on. I know that the economic report now should be coming in for 2022.
Okay.
But it takes time to get published in this particular format. This is a government document. And I'll make reference to them so that we can have an understanding.
Okay. Tell us
let's take 2021. How is that? Okay? All right. So I'll just go to page 9. I think that, that's what we have. And I'm reading from page 9 of this document. I hope you can zoom in and then let's just see that this is it. It has got graphs. These graphs are indicating the share of nominal GDP, growth, GDPs, the gross domestic product, meaning the value of what you are producing. And it lists from the bottom, the lowest one is the biggest producer, and it is showing us that it's mining and quarrying.
The biggest producer.
That's the biggest contributor to this, to the economic, the growth of GDP. And it's showing us that it's 19.4%. 19.4% is its contribution to the entire economy. Now, you've asked me the question, Nelson, about agriculture.
Yes.
You've raised that particular issue. Where is agriculture in all this? Because here there is about 9 sectors. These are our sectors, the ones that are used for gauging the nominal growth of our economy. When I look at this, I find that agriculture, forestry, and fishing are number 3 from the bottom.
Wow.
And they represent, while mining represents 19.4%, these agriculture, forestry, and fishing or fisheries represent 3.1%. 3.1%.
Is that satisfying, Uncle Bob?
You tell me, what is bigger? 19% or 20% or 3%? Which one? Obviously 20% is bigger. So that's why I've maintained. Last time we were here, I said to you, we're basically a mining country.
So we shouldn't...
So I'm not saying we should stop that.
Okay.
We need that engine to finance other areas where we should grow. Where is our, what we call in business, comparative advantage?
Oh, yeah.
Because if you look at Luapula, if you look at Western Province, if you look at the area around Iteji going up to Namuala and so on and so forth, there we have got a lot of fishery work, even in Kariba, right, taking place. So the question that we need to ask ourselves, why are we only contributing 3%? Because if you're talking about agriculture, you're talking about fisheries, you're talking about forestry, these are the production areas that are most used by the people in the rural areas.
Exactly.
So if you go to Kwahaye, all right, it's literally, we're growing rice because we need the water. Okay, so what I'm saying to you is that if we're only having 3% and you are talking about agriculture, and now this year we've been hit by drought and it's been ongoing from southern, especially southern areas, okay, southern province, south part of eastern province, and even here right through to Lusaka until you get to about Kapiriposhi. That's when you start to get more rain. That is the area in which we must be spending our money and time. and apart from a mega project, if we want to do the irrigation in Southern Province and Eastern Province, okay? Because the major producers of maize, for example, which is our staple commodity, Nelson, has always been Kalongo. No, but now that has changed. It is Petauke. But also we're also seeing Northern Province, okay, increasing its production. Luapula normally it's cassava. But are we producing the right cassava? Because agriculture sustains a large part of our national population.
Okay.
All right, in the rural areas especially, 84% of our population in the rural areas depends on agriculture. So what should we be doing? So now this year is a good example of what is going to happen to us. What should happen to Zambia in agriculture? I've given you the statistics. These are not my statistics. It's a government document here.
Yes. Ministry of Finance.
Yeah. And what is the year in which it was produced? You can see
2022.
Okay. Okay. So it is not my document. All I'm saying is that our political leaders, and I also hope that the ministers, whichever government, will spend time to look at this. Members of Parliament will spend time to look at these annual economic reports. And I find them extremely helpful, so that when we discuss matters, we should engage on an intellectual level. We should not be talking about platitudes. Oh, it's like this, when you don't have any statistics to back it up. So that's why I use government documents. So they are legal. They're in public domain. So the issue of agriculture is an important part in terms of developing it. Why? Because to impact the most the numbers of people in the rural areas, Nelson. Okay, this is critical. We must understand this. And also they depend on that agriculture, that fisheries, that forestry, and also livestock. Yeah. For example, if you take Southern Province, Namara area in particular, not the only area, but in particular,
okay,
most of the goats come from there. Most of the livestock is there. Most of the livestock is in the Zambezi Valley in Western Province. So where should we, and of course Eastern Province around the Petauke area and so on. So where should our support be for our rural area people to earn a living? Because that's where from what they earn from their produce, that's what they finance their additional fertilizers. They finance their children, pay for the children's transportation to school, pay for the uniforms, dress their wives, and feed themselves. So I hope I'm answering your question. So the production that we're going to have this year means that those people in those areas are going to earn literally nothing. Because whatever little they have produced, they must keep for their feeding.
So, Uncle Bob, therein lies a question.
Yeah.
Are you then suggesting that we should brace for hard economic times?
Yes, we should. That's exactly what I'm saying.
We need to tighten our belt.
So that, and this is why I have always argued, even look, and I'm not arguing this for the first time. Even as Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, even as Minister of Agriculture, that was my argument.
Okay.
In the SATA administration, because I never saved Mr. Lungu, I said we need to do this. And because of that, we pushed and pushed and pushed. And this, on this job, we discussed it partly. I have said, unless you can use what you are producing, the primary commodities you are producing, the copper, the cobalt, the lithium, and so on and so forth, the manganese, right? We must turn that into finished commodities, which we can sell to the market. And because of that, we undertook an exercise. And I brought a copy of it here. I was just checking my
strategy paper on industrialization and job creation.
Exactly. And what is the year?
2012, Uncle Bob. August 2012.
Okay. I am wondering, have some of our colleagues in the current government looked at this? This is where we were proposing that we create value chains. It's here. This is a government document.
It is.
Okay. So we put our heads together and say, how do we, because the value is in the value addition. It's in the industrialization. We cannot develop our country without industrialization and create jobs for our own children. Our children, you guys, you're lucky you're here. But there's so many others who do not have this opportunity.
That's true. Uncle Bob.
So and I estimate,
okay.
In fact, let's put it this way, 84% of our population are young people below the age of 35.
Yes.
35. Nelson. How old are you?
84% of our population.
Yeah, 84.
Okay.
68% are below the age of 25. So the question is, how would you provide for their jobs? Should they always say, Uncle Bob, I'm looking for a job, can you go and talk to the minister? How am I going to talk to the minister? I'm not a minister.
How many ministers are you going to talk to?
Well, how many ministers can I talk to? And sometimes people are hostile. They think that you're trying to interfere in what they're doing at the moment.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is that here, I am not talking from without. Work has been done, and it's not the only document. So many other documents have been done where we can be able to produce this. So you talked about business. This is what's going to create business. This is going to create money.
This document.
These are the things that are going to create opportunities for our young people. They don't have to go to Europe. My 4 sons are in the United States, and I'm saying, who will bury me when I die? I want them here. I want them to have the protection of their country, their father's land, their own land, where nobody will discriminate against them. Nelson, okay? But in other places, when you go to another person's country, you're a foreigner. Yeah, here you are the owner. Your NRC, the green NRC is connected to resource.
Having explained that, could it be that agriculture, the agricultural sector here in Zambia, has not been made attractive to the extent that people should be part of this sector and develop it?
Well, Nelson, you're probably hitting the nail on the head. What I'm saying is that our comparative advantage as a country, you know, this country has got 40% of the fresh water, surface water, underground water, in the rivers and in the dams, in the southern African subcontinent. 40% is here in this country.
In Zambia.
That's our comparative advantage.
Okay.
We've got 4-point-something million hectares of land. Arable land. So what should we do?
Let's go to the call, Uncle Bob.
Oh, okay.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
We know Murishani.
Murishani?
Bueno.
Atuba nani hapa?
La Prince.
Ba Prince mnaitumira kufuma kuisa?
Dubai.
Mnaitumira kufuma kui? Okay. So seni, ipsheni lipusho.
I don't think he's on the program.
Okay. So, Prince, bwerere ku TV, then twala mieba of a discussion to kwende.
Okay.
Mkwai, tuatotera. Okay, Chisuma. So, Prince, we are discussing the agricultural sector with Uncle Bob. He is a former minister, veteran politician, and of course, a governance activist, a political analyst, and everything. You wear so many hats. Uncle Bob, please continue on your line.
So what I'm saying is that a country normally looks at its comparative advantage.
Yes.
What do you have in your hands to create your jobs, to be able to earn, so that you can be able. Look, on Wednesday, on Labor Day, there were announcements that were made. And you just as I came in, you were discussing the issue of electricity, Nelson, and a very important component, because you need power to run the industries.
Exactly.
You need power in order to process things. You need power in order to create products, as it were. So the issue that is before us is, what are the things that we have as a country that we can be able to use to sustain ourselves? There was increase in electricity. There was tariffs. There was an increase in the price of fuel. What does that do?
It reduces production.
Does it increase production or does it reduce it?
It reduces.
It reduces production. Why? Why are we increasing the prices? Why are the prices going up? If you increase the price of fuel, it's because you are saying that the exchange rate has also deteriorated in the favor of the dollar against you.
It's at 27.19.
Didn't I warn you when I came?
You did, Uncle Bob.
I said it will exceed 27.
Yes.
So what are you going to do about it?
We need
because that increase in the exchange rate against the kwacha, okay, means that value of the kwacha is what? Eroded. That's what it means.
True.
And because of that, you need more kwacha to purchase the same quantity of fuel. So if you increase the price of fuel, what happens to the users? let's say the taxi operators, the bus operators, what happens to tractor operators?
Let's
they have to pay more.
Let's get to pick this call. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Looks like we lost that call. Uncle Bob, sorry for disturbing you. Please
because
continue.
you are going to, you see, the prices increase. So it means that anything they are producing using their tractor has to increase as well. It means that the minibus operator has to increase the fares. Who is going to pay for it?
The ordinary Zambian.
Okay, where is he going to get money from? Have you increased his salary? So what I'm saying to you is that anything that is increasing your price or your cost, sure, the president has talked about reducing the cost of doing business. Does that reduce the cost of doing business? No. You are increasing the cost of doing business. You are saying that the exchange rate is unfavorable. Okay? Right. If the exchange rate is unfavorable, what should you do? Why is it unfavorable? Because you are not producing enough for export. You are not producing enough that goods in quite a value which you can now convert into dollars. Okay. Because you are using dollar as your currency in effect. That's what you're doing. So anytime you increase prices, whether it's in the tariffs, whether it is in the tax, whether it is in the electricity tariffs and also the fuels, it simply means that your cost of doing business goes up, and you get to a stage where it's. Let me give you an example. Maybe this will be easier for people.
Okay.
If you take a football, a football has a particular size.
Okay.
And when you pump it, there's a certain amount of air inside there.
Yes.
That air can't increase or reduce unless you reduce it or you increase it.
Yes.
Okay? So what you have got there is limited. So what the more you pump it, the heavier the ball will be.
Yes.
Okay? So when the ball is heavier, it will come to a stage where it's so hard you can't even hit it. It won't bounce. That's what we're doing to the economy.
That's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing. The economy won't bounce. This is the prescription of the IMF, and I've explained many times to our brothers.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Please, your name and where you're calling us from, and then you go ahead with your contribution.
Excuse me.
Yes, this is Monica from Texas.
Okay?
Okay.
Yes, we are watching you in Texas.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I okay, trust that the topic that we're discussing today is concerning stuff. My contribution there is the best that we can do irrigation, since we have a lot of changes. And let's get support, especially the poor areas where most of our food is coming from.
Correct.
We should drill problems, hand pumps, and then put solar water mechanized systems. By so doing, I think the agriculture is going to improve. We are going to, defeat the drought that is affecting Zambia. Otherwise, I'm agreeing and I'm thanking the cost that we're not doing enough in agriculture. Therefore, we have to wake up and see that we do the agriculture can be one of the best drivers of national development. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. It is, sir.
Thank you so much.
You've talked about this. The topic is amidst drought.
Yes.
Okay. This drought was pronounced way back last year. It was. I mean, let's just be honest about it. In fact, my wife was in the States and she sent me this picture, the clip, which said a certain part of Southern African subcontinent, not just us. Malawi is affected, Mozambique is affected, Botswana is affected, South Africa is affected, Zimbabwe. The same problem we've had here.
Yes.
But we were warned, weren't we? We were aware that the El Nino effect was going to impact us. The question is, how did we prepare? Did we, say to people, you plant early? The seed must come early. The fertilizer must arrive early. Did we do that? Did we organize ourselves in a state of preparedness? The answer is no. We heard, but we ignored. And here, to be frank, and I don't mean to be blaming anybody per se, but my colleagues in agriculture, why? Why?
And the caller seems to agree with you.
And I agree with him too.
He's coming from Pemba.
Yeah. You can Southern Province is completely devastated. And these are the most agricultural awake citizens of our country. What do we do? So what I'm saying is that part of it should have been to say, all right, where are we going to have the rain then? Remember I explained to you that our country goes in terms of we are one season agricultural industry, one season, okay? And in most cases, the major crop is maize because that's what we consume the most. So, but from the Gwembe, that's the lowest rainfall, below 600 millimeters per annum.
Okay.
If you go towards the northwest, towards Chiengi, that is the one that has got the highest rainfall near the Congo, because the intertropical convergence zone lies more towards the Congo because of the Congo forest, all right, and the equator and so on and so forth. So most of the rains comes because of that, from that area. So the northern part, northwestern part, Luapula, northern part of Muchinga, and I'm talking about the higher part. So Eastern Province is a mixed bag.
Okay.
Sometimes it is sufficient, sometimes it is, but up to about Petauke, you tend to have a fair amount of rain. So you find that Lundas produces quite a lot in Eastern Province.
So where are we?
So we have not invested. That's what I'm saying to you. We have not invested in there. The other challenge that we have is the resources that are being talked about, the irrigation issues, the tractors, for example, the conservation farming, the issue of storage facilities. For example, when I was minister in 2013, 2014, our capacity, secure storage, what we call secure storage, was around 890,000 metric tons.
Okay.
But our consumption between us and Katanga is about 2 million.
Okay.
All right? So in order to be able to protect that for per annum, per annum, so in order to protect your security, food security, you'd have to have a minimum of 2 million, at least for a year. Now, if your storage is less than 900,000, excuse me, 900,000, would you have sufficient to be able to distribute everyone? So we have to find a way. And what I'm talking about, preparedness, a state of preparedness. We don't take things as seriously as we should. So we should invest in this area. It is worth putting our resources in there. What are our people using in Southern Province? At least Southern Province is a bit better. Right? The plow. Okay?
Okay.
But in most places throughout the country, they're using the hoe.
Okay.
This is 2024. They're using the hoe.
60 years after independence.
Yeah, how much can you grow? Most of it is substantial. It is basically subsistent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uncle Bob, before the caller came in, you wanted to talk about IMF?
No, I was saying that this is the prescription of the IMF.
Okay.
So they will say, spend this, don't spend this. So when you come, this is the output. This is it. This is the effect of their policies. At least if we have got food, clothing, you may go and take leaves and cover yourself. But how about feeding? How about if we don't have food, our children will starve, we will die. Surely that's not what we want.
Uncle Bob, I know agriculture is something that you bring close, that you're passionate about.
Yes. Yes, I
Closer
am.
to his heart.
Back then, we had state farms.
Yes.
And we also,
Good point.
to some extent, had winter maize being cultivated.
Okay.
And we've seen the same being reintroduced by this administration to beef up the country's
Being
food
pronounced.
security.
Yes.
Being pronounced.
Yes.
Right? But to what extent are these state farms, as well as going into winter
Winter
maize,
maize.
Yes.
going to be beneficial for the
Yeah.
country's food security, especially amidst the drought situation that we have in the
No,
country?
you make a good point, Nelson. Everything that enables us to have food is welcome.
Okay.
Right? So long as it is not excessive cost.
Okay.
What I'm saying, because people must afford it. It must be affordable. But remember, as a country, we don't have 2 seasons. If you go to Uganda, they have got a different situation because they are at the equator. They've got almost 2 seasons. Okay? We don't have that benefit. That's why I said to you, we're a single season agricultural economy in that sense. So, you can go a step further, Nelson. How about what the National Service have done in terms of production? It's helpful. It's a contribution. Excuse me. It is increasing our ability to have a pool of food. But most of the winter maize you're talking about is grown in the wet areas, in the wetlands. Yeah? I'm talking about the rural areas. Okay, that's where they can grow it.
Okay.
But irrigation has its own cost. Have we got the irrigation infrastructure?
And
Do
that
we
was the
have that?
concern of the caller.
That's the investment I'm talking about, Joe, Nelson. Have we made sufficient? Yes, whatever little you can make is going to contribute. But let's look at another, which we can talk about things that are sort of winter foods. And I'll not talk maize. I'll talk about foods. What else grows in the winter? This time, as where we're going now. What grows there? You can have other crops that grow, but there are also specific goods, food products, potatoes, for example. They can grow at another time. Groundnuts, okay, they can grow at another time. And therefore, when I talk about preparedness, I'm referring to all that. What do we have? I have not seen it here in the economic report in terms of sweet potatoes, Irish potatoes, rice, sorghum, and the things that you are saying growing in winter maize. How much winter maize can we produce? I remember I said to you, 2 million is what we need annually for between us and Katanga. How much of it can winter maize contribute? Have we made that investment in the irrigation infrastructure, in the fields that are going to be done during this particular period? Remember also, when we come to October, it is very hot. Things will dry up. So we need to decide that what do we do? So yes, the preparedness includes the preparation for all these activities. Now, you talked about the state farms. A lot of those state farms, if you remember, were privatized. But what I can mention is that they are what are called farming blocks.
Farming blocks, yes.
Yes.
Is that what you're referring to?
Mukushi.
Yeah, in Mukushi, in Nansanga, and so on and so forth.
And we still have land, Uncle Bob.
This is what I said. That is our comparative advantage.
We still have
That
land.
is our comparative advantage. The question is, have we provided the infrastructure in there? Access roads, the irrigation, the dams that are needed in there. How about power? Have we opened it up? Because whichever way, if you go to Nansanga, for example, they were where we are supposed to build 4 dams.
Okay.
To build the roads, access roads to the specific areas, because these are large areas. And you're talking about Serenje, that's this
Yes.
way. So in order to be able to take advantage of the land, we have to have that infrastructure, agricultural infrastructure in place to take advantage. And the country has got, if my memory serves me right, about 13 to 14 farming blocks. These are huge areas. I mean, 100,000.
Now we've seen that
hectares.
this government also is going out to use
Yeah.
also the defense wings.
Fantastic.
It's
and
a pronouncement.
everything.
Yes,
but
pronouncement.
it must go beyond the pronouncement. It must be supported by the investment itself. The infrastructure I'm talking about. Have you taken the power there? Remember, there was another program that we had apart from the farming blocks, the Tazara corridor. You remember?
Oh, yeah.
The Tazara corridor. Plots were allocated. People say, but I don't have money. I would like to farm. I would like to go home, but I can't go to the village because there's no infrastructure. How will I get there? How about the tractors? Can I afford it? So what I'm saying is that these programs must be supported. They must be implemented in reality. You must convert your ideas into practical solutions. So programs are essential. So yes, agreed, Nelson. Everything that we can get in terms of supplementation, including additional foods, is going to be important. But let's look at another area. How about orchards? Which is our source of, which place grows oranges right now?
In Zambia.
Yeah.
Are you aware of any?
In Zimbabwe, there's a place called Mazowe. They grow their stuff there. The only place that I know, former Minister of Agriculture, is we were trying out something in Katete.
Okay.
Because you have got to get to a place where the conditions are conducive.
Yes.
The soils are correct. Okay. Again, we don't have that. How about we import 400 tons of bananas every month? We import. But you've got to pay for them in dollars.
Now, Uncle Bob, therein lies the question.
Yes.
The documents are here.
Yes.
Surely, Uncle Bob, even if I get into government today,
Yes.
but even if I don't have a plan, there are documents to guide me, like from 2017, 2021. We have 2021 going up. We also have this one from 2022.
And there are many.
There are many.
Yeah,
These documents
many
are
others.
already-
Yes.
Even if I don't have a plan, Uncle Bob,
Sure.
I'll still be guided.
Yes.
Why haven't we seen successful governments coming through and implementing these particular documents?
I share with you the same question. I share with you the same question, and this is why we're discussing it right here.
Yes.
I'm hoping I can just. I know my brother Mtoro, the current minister of personal friend of mine, great guy, but it's not one person's issue here. There has to be resources dedicated to this job.
Okay.
There has also got to be the quality of people, research work. I mean, we've got many research places that, maybe not too many, but sufficient numbers of research places where we can take advantage of that. The question is, have we moved as a government, or as governments, both past, current, and even future? Have we taken the steps to do that? As you say, this document is there. I mean, this is a copy that I kept for my own use. Because we spent a lot of time here. I mean, it's here. It's all here. All that remained now was now to do the value chains, develop the value chains to support this job creation and industrialization. Okay? This is the value addition. That value addition includes the agriculture. Take whatever you're producing. And you know, there was a time we were importing sweet Irish potatoes. Now, what's happening, most of these outlets which are selling fast foods, they are now using local biabamba.
Yes.
Okay? That's what we need. Specific bananas, because we're importing. So let's go for import substitution. That's what I would like to hear from the Minister of Agriculture. That's what I would like to hear from the President when he's now doing his SONA. When he's announcing, I would like to hear that same thing from the Minister of Finance, that we are going to fund these particular programs in this particular way.
We were looking at one of the policy document here in the annual economic report,
yes,
2021,
yeah. 2021,
Ministry of
yes,
Finance and National Planning.
Yeah.
And one of those things that you highlighted was the fact
grass.
that
Yeah.
on the grass,
Page 9.
Yeah.
the agriculture sector, fisheries, as well as this other industry, forestry,
Yeah.
accounted for.
In fact, I would like to have included there livestock. Yes.
Accounted for about 3.1%.
Yes.
Meaning that it's below average.
Yeah,
if we're to put it,
tremendously below average.
if we're to put it that way, does it mean that both successive governments that have been there before and the current administration don't really place priority on the agriculture sector?
Yes, because we're busy with IMF.
Okay.
Yeah, we're busy with IMF. Look, IMF is not going to solve our problems. The problems are our responsibility. And you guys, yes, you guys must talk to each much more in the media, Nelson. And I'm glad you're raising these issues, because I am seeking the same answer. Okay? And obviously we must look at ways in which, I remember I shared something, I don't know whether it's on this forum. I shared with you that in 2013, 2014, I had a challenge. The challenge was that I only had been given so little from the Ministry of Finance to finance the agriculture. And I think it was $45 million equivalent. And yet the demand was probably more than 100 million that we needed for fertilizers, for fertilizer inputs, for the transportation, for the seed, and so on and so forth. So with that, I needed to find a way in which I could do it. So I decided we're going to revamp NCZ. So all the beso that was produced in 2013 to 2014, all of it, I mean all the beso dressing, fertilizer, was produced in this country.
Okay.
Yes, there was challenges. We had to spend time on the plant itself. And that plant was designed to produce 100,000 metric tons every year. When we had worked on the problems that we were facing us, we had increased that capacity from 100,000 metric tons to 151,000 metric tons, going up by 51% because of the changes we made to the plant, although it was an old plant. So now that provided us with the inputs. So the little money that I was left with, I then said to our colleagues that were procuring, the permanent secretaries, the permanent secretary and the secretary to treasury, I said, you go to Saudi Arabia and see if we can buy cheaper from there. We were paying $1,079 per metric ton of fertilizer. I'm talking about urea. I'm talking about top dressing. When they had gone to Saudi Arabia, after negotiations and so on and so forth, and to cut a long story short, they managed to get a price which I insisted it had to be below 400. They brought back a price of $383 per metric ton. So we had saved almost 2.5 times what price we were paying before. And that's how we were able to pay the farmers. We were able to pay the, I'm talking about the farmers, you know, who had supplied the maize. We were able to pay the seed suppliers. We were able to pay the transporters. I'm talking about schemes like that. I don't know why it failed. And I wish I had stayed there a little longer. But the rest of it, as you know, in 2014, we had the misfortune, the president died. I was no longer able to carry on contributing to that. In any case, he had moved me back to commerce. So what I'm saying is that we need to spend a lot more time. The Zambia National Farmers Union, the Peasant Farmers Union, and so on, we must all be pushing and saying to government, no, let's have more money in this particular area so that we can avoid, even when we have a drought like this, which we may not be able to control, we've got sufficient storage. All these silos where we're supposed to keep the maize. If you only have the capacity of 900,000, Nelson, if you only had 100,000, yet you need 2 million per annum. It means that we must create that capacity.
Now, Uncle Bob, as we begin to wind up, let me find out from you, because look, the documents are here. They are giving guidance, but we haven't heard any pronouncements coming from these. A pronouncement being made based on
not just a pronouncement, you say implementation.
Implementation.
That's critical.
That. Yeah. There has been an argument, Uncle Bob. There's a theory that is floating out there from some different sections of society that we do have good documents, good, brilliant documents, such as the ones that are laid on our table here. Brilliant documents. However, the major issue is implementation.
Correct.
Uncle Bob.
Yeah.
Where is the gap?
I think that for me, I've said to you, I will repeat myself, I am sharing that question with you too. That's why I'm asking. That's why I agreed to come here. Because I want to jostle our minds, whether it's our researchers, whether it's our policy designers. I'm talking about the planners in the various ministries, including especially Minister of Agriculture. How about the directors in those areas? How about the permanent secretaries? Now they are not just one. In my day it was one. Now there are two. One for technical, the other one for administration, and so on and so forth. So I'm saying, at the end of the day, it's also political philosophy. Where do we stand? What do we want to achieve? Why is it that when we get into office, we seem to forget all about this? And I can't answer that question for you, because in my time, I tried to do exactly that. Remember, I've said to you that I was in the ministry for 1 year.
Yes, Uncle.
So in 1 year, it was not sufficient to do everything that we're talking about.
But you made strides.
Those are the strides that we made. Revamped the NCZ, increased the employment in that particular area, delivered on time, made sure that things were in place, and also I started now working on the irrigation programs, and also the silos, to make sure that the capacity for us to increase is there. To increase even the exports or processed milling to Congo, to Malawi, especially our neighbors, to Zimbabwe, and wherever people needed it, because they don't have the same amount of water as we have.
Okay.
So I wish I could give you an answer to that, but maybe that's a question we need to pose to you invite my brother Mtoro. Maybe let him come with his team. Maybe we need to have another Indaba on agriculture and agree on concrete measures and fund it to make sure that we overcome this, to avoid a repeat of where we are going to be this year.
I'm still coming back to the issue of agriculture, fisheries, as well as livestock.
Yes.
Being at 3.1% as of 2021, according to the annual economic report.
Yes.
And during the budget presentation just last year for 2023-2024 by the Minister of Finance and National Planning, Dr. Mstokotwane, who did mention that government was going to promote sustainable capture fisheries through enforcement of fish ban and enhanced surveillance of water bodies. The intervention under aquaculture fisheries are aimed at reducing the national deficit of about 52,000 metric tons of fish in 2024 from 74,000 metric tons in 2023.
Yes.
Now, we have all these water bodies.
Just pause there for a moment, Nelson. How was it supported? How was it supported? Because the statement the minister makes, the Minister of Finance in particular, this normally is extracted from what the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, or Fisheries and Livestock, is saying. It is their program. But the Minister of Finance has to fund it.
Was it funded?
And I don't know. I mean, I'm not in government, so I can't answer that question.
Nelson, was it funded?
No, but I think that you should interrogate this. We should all interrogate this and say, where is the failing? Where is it? Because at the end of the day, it affects all of us. It's going to affect our children. It's going to affect our survival. Because even if the food was available, it would be very expensive. At 300 and some, what was my worker saying that they're buying the meal meal at? I think it's 380 kwacha or something like that. 380. How many families can afford that? And in some families, because of the numbers, there are 8 of them, there are maybe 10 of them.
Yes.
They eat 2 bags.
Even
so
14.
that means that, yeah. So out of the 2 bags, how much are you talking about? You're talking of almost 800 kwacha.
I know you've extensively.
So but look at just hold on. Let's look at this. Here, the highest contributor to GDP is mining and quarrying. You can understand that, isn't it?
Yes.
Because of the core belt.
Yes.
Next is wholesale and retail trade.
We're a trading country.
What? Yeah, you're a trading country.
We're not manufacturing.
No. You're going to buy from other people and bring it here, whether it's Salawula or whatever. So the value chains, the cotton value chain, which was producing the towels, which was producing the blankets, is dead.
Which textiles?
Go to the copper belt.
It's a white elephant.
Yeah. We had on the copper belt. I'm trying to remember the name that they were called. Mukuba.
Okay.
Mukuba Textiles. In Ndola.
Mukuba.
You remember?
Yes.
How about Kafua Textiles? How about Livingstone? How about Ndola? All these, that's what was consuming the cotton. Not to give to another person to make the blankets, no. How about the cloth? Tablecloths and so on and so forth, towels. That is what is going to create the jobs. And this is number 2, wholesale and retail. Next, on construction, the contribution for construction is 16%.
Okay.
Right? Next is manufacturing. 8.9%, so 9% only for manufacturing. So you're not adding value. Transportation and storage, 7.3. Financial and insurance activity, 7.1. Next, public administration and defense, 3.7. Education, 3.1. Agriculture, forestry and fisheries, 3.1. Next, real estate, 2.6. Information and communications, 2.4. So you see where agriculture is. Number 3 from the bottom.
Number 3 from the bottom.
So,
3.1.
we got our priorities wrong. We have. We rather import what other people have been trying. You can import Vindog beer, spirits, but not medicines. Come on.
Toothpicks.
Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. That's what I mean when I talk about value added. And it used to happen here before.
But we do have trees, Uncle Bob. Why are we importing toothpicks?
Well, let's now push for that, Nelson. Now we must invite the minister.
They are ever busy for us, Uncle Bob.
No. You should insist, Minister. We want you here
to come and explain.
Yes. Uncle Bob was here, and this is what he was saying. What do you say? Because these documents are government documents. They're not mine.
Yes.
It's not me who produced them. And we should stop drinking beer throughout the nights. Come and concentrate and sort out our country. Bring this country up. That's what we need.
Let's get to sum it up. In your view, being former Ministry of Trade,
we still have 5 more minutes
and Commerce, as well as former Minister of Agriculture.
Nelson is chasing me.
What? Not really to chase him, but I'd like to find out from him. What should be some of the short-term as well as long-term measures that should be put in place, to ensure that the agriculture sector of Zambia is revamped at the same time, also attract citizens to venture into
especially the young people.
Yeah, I think you make a good point, Joe. For me, it is the young people. That's where our future is. Yeah, but you must make it attractive. So for me, I would say that some of the investment we're talking about is at district level. Okay, at district level. Okay, at constituency level, we ought to have training institutes. We must prioritize in our education institutions. We must prioritize the teaching of agriculture, the teaching of building, I'm talking about carpentry. Okay. I'm talking about bricklaying. I'm talking about electricity. I'm talking about plumbing. You know that to get a plumber now, is almost impossible. Most of the time you have to get to Zimbabweans to come and do it for us. Why? Because Zimbabwe prioritized that. Every technicon in Zimbabwe, every provincial technicon, they were teaching that.
So that skill set is missing.
So we need, it is missing. So we need to, and because we've got almost 7.5 million children that are looking for this opportunity, well, that's where we must put our money. We must put our money in the youth. So what I'm saying is that in the negotiations with IMF, and so, when they're asking us or increase the prices or take away the subsidies from education, then what happens to our children? What happens to our youth? So the Zambia National Service, for example, I have said this before, I'll repeat myself. If I was doing it, I would convert it into the Youth Skills Agency. Focus on increasing the skills of our youth. Because it has shown, by producing this maize and milling and so on, it has shown a lot more can be done.
Okay.
Then we discover the skills of our children and say, okay, and each district must have that institute, training the people, making sure that the ordinary farmers, when they are taught, the extension services go back there and say, all right, we've got tractors here. Just give you an idea. Okay, I'm just going to use, say a constituency like Kafue, okay, where I was a member of parliament. How many councillors do you have? Let's say 20. I'm just going to guess now. Say 20, because the words have changed. 20 people. They are sitting in the council. What is their responsibility? How many tractors would they need? So maybe instead of buying the GXs, let's go and buy the tractors instead. Smaller tractors and so on and so forth. And say that for every watt, we're going to provide a tractor. So 20 tractors in the district. What do you think it will do for agriculture?
Revamp the sector.
How about the storage facilities? If we start now, we're going to make sure that you've got now secure storage. I said secure, Nelson. In other words, where you can fumigate, all right, where you can, there is airy. It's not where you're putting it on pause and then the moisture goes into the maize and it germinates. And you say, oh, we've got food security when in fact it's not even there. All right, silos in each of these locations, especially the high production areas. Okay. So you're asking me what we can do? That's what I'm saying we can do. And I'm also saying that in areas where we've got comparative advantage, that's where we should concentrate on specifics. Each province, please excuse me, each province has got its comparative advantage. In Wapula, there's so much water. You can grow rice, you can grow pineapples, you can grow palms, you can be able to grow sugarcane, you can be able to grow bananas. In Northwestern Province, for example, you can grow sweet potatoes, you can grow beans, you can grow maize, in fact, as well. But what I'm saying is that let's focus, let's be focused, let's concentrate and say, this year, this is the amount we're going to do. And to supervise it very, very closely. And our focus, our minds must be to say, for the next 5 years, we're going to build this up. We're going to make sure that the roads are created. We're going to have the irrigation.
Now, Uncle Bob, as we go, that's the other concern again, that we are poor managers. There's no one managing these processes. You can see the misapplication of public funds, like through the Constituency Development Fund. Nobody's managing this process, Uncle Bob.
But this is why, I don't know how it was, if it was this forum. I had said at the time, increasing constituency development fund is a fantastic idea.
Okay.
We need to put resources into the constituencies. But what is a plan? You can't plan after you've implemented.
No.
Because to what are you implementing? To what plan are you implementing? So that plan should have been done then. And when I was a member of parliament for Kafue, we were also councillors but they moved the members of parliament now. So what is the link? So to follow up on that particular point, it means that at that level, you must have planners at the district who are saying this is a plan for our district. And then when the implementation is being done for the provinces, we must take the services closer rather, to those particular areas in a better manner, because they must be and people must be told, these are your targets. This is what you must achieve.
But
so there's no
alternative.
Well, it's not. We don't have an alternative. Even control of funds, it's the same thing. Now we've got computers. You can control that even from remotely. You can be able to do that. So what I'm saying is that we need a complete transformation. It's not just about agriculture. We're discussing agriculture today, but it's the same with our industry, Nelson. Okay?
Yes.
Joe, it is the same in, for example, livestock. yes, there will be challenges along the way because that's the nature of a human being's life.
Yes.
But the question is, how are we providing the solutions? And that's so those that are aspiring for leadership, those that are going to serve us as our political leaders, must really be aware. They must be organized in such a way that they are responding to the very issue that you're talking about, so that when they get into office, they are not floundering. You know, they are able to implement these programs of action, if you want to call them that.
Okay. Uncle Bob, let me thank you more sincerely, but as we go, also today is International Press Freedom Day,
yeah.
And the cry from the scribes, the journalists, the media practitioners is, can we have the Access to Information Act
Yes.
Be actualized?
Yeah.
Let it start operating so that we can be able to be having access to such documents and know which offices to go to.
Yeah. But also have them on the websites.
Yes.
To have them on the websites.
Yes. So
yeah,
that we can download.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
You can. I totally agree with you that information is power. Information should be available to all of us. To some extent, I have access to this because I was a member of parliament, because I was a minister in the past. But and also all these, they ought to be available, and this should be reduced to the level, right,
yes,
of our people understand to say, this
yes,
is the role that you're going to play in this particular district, this is the role you're going to play in this particular province, this, so, and you will concentrate. For example, cashew nuts in Western Province. For example, cotton seed in Petauke. For example, rice in Isoka, right? Instead of talking about Nakonde rice, which is not even there, that is coming from Tanzania. But it means that we have need for it.
Yes.
How about in Western Province, in Kalambo? We ought to be having that. How about Solwezi beans? I love Solwezi beans myself.
Okay.
As somebody from the north, I think we're used to that. So that's what we should be saying. Concentrate on that. So in Solwezi, let's produce it.
Because we're talking about forestry here.
So information is power. Yeah.
Mukula,
no, let's discuss at another time. So today we're discussing agriculture. Okay.
Uncle Bob, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please continue coming through whenever we invite you, Uncle Bob. At least we get enlightened, and obviously the viewers out there, like our viewer from Pemba, came through and agreed with you, obviously following. Yeah. We do appreciate you, Uncle Bob. You are an asset to our nation, and we appreciate
you. Thank you, Joe. Thanks, I appreciate it, Nelson. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate. I'll be available to you all the time.
Please,
anytime. If there's something that can help us, then do that. Remember, these are official documents.
Yes.
They're not mine. They're not personal to me. So yes, you need, the media ought to have this, because that's the only way we're going to disseminate it as effectively as we can. But you will excuse me, I'm not leaving these for you because I need to have them to make sure that I also read them to ensure that I update myself. Thank you so much indeed.
Our
thank
guest
you to the viewers.
this morning was former Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, as well as served as Minister of Agriculture at some point, that is between 2013 and 2014. And we are discussing all issues, the agricultural sector, how do we get to improve it amidst the drought situation that the country is facing. Now, being a journalist myself, I also take this opportunity to wish journalists, my fellow journalists out there, a World Press Freedom Day as we get to celebrate. Let's celebrate responsibly and remember that we've got the onus of ensuring that we inform the public so that those informed decisions are chalked out to the benefit of everyone. From my end...
And Nelson, wait. There is a public forum today, a public discussion forum taking place at Pamozi Hotel, 17 hours. It features Dr. Sumbeko Msokotwani, the Minister of Finance, Mrs. Yandesia Memoenya, Zika President, Father Felix Mueve, CSO, Debt Alliance Chairperson, Mr. Oswald Mungule, EAZ President. This is where we're going at 17 to go and ask pertinent questions, especially to the Minister of Finance. And also,
yeah, definitely
armed with this information from these books.
Definitely, that's one thing that you can also look out for, and also make your submissions, because development depends on the submissions of everyone.
Absolutely.
From Joe Tabelo Simata, myself, Nelson Zulu, and also many thanks to our guest, Mr. Sichinga. It is bye for now, and a happy World Press Freedom Day to our fellow journalists out there. Keep it on Camnet. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel. We're out.
Fantastic.